And now I have the real pleasure of saying good morning to Inge Huijbrechts, who is the Global Senior Vice President responsible business and safety and security at Radisson Hotels. Good morning, Inge. How are you?
Good morning, Nils. I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. I find you in Brussels at your is it your European headquarter, your regional headquarter? What is the exact descriptions of where you are?
So this is our headquarter for EMEA, and a number of our global positions at Radisson Hotel Group are based here. And as you can tell from the background, I'm in the office. We reopened our office on Monday, actually. So this is a new step in relaxation of measures and coming back towards the new normal.
Excellent. Inge, what do you do? I mean, responsible business, safety, security. Just give us a couple of sentences, please, of what your responsibility is.
Yeah, so I'm the global head of responsible business and safety and security for Radisson Hotel Group. So that is for our 1,200 hotels in operation in over 100 countries with our 7 brands. So my role actually consists of making sure that we act as a responsible company in everything we do. And that includes the care for think people, think community, and think planet. And under caring for people in our hotels and our supply chain, under the think people pillar, you have everything we do on safety and security globally, which of course today is our first priority in this time of the COVID pandemic.
Right. Let me start with the responsible part, sustainability. We chatted when we first met a few years ago about the necessity. Where was it going? Sustainable tourism, responsible tourism. Now we have a crisis which is costing potentially millions of jobs across the planet. Many businesses that are under risk. And it's always been said, or not always been said, that's wrong. Some people are saying, I can't afford to be sustainable. And we both agree you can't afford not to be sustainable. But right now, is sustainability sustainable?
Well, let me answer in this way. I think first and foremost, we are still in the crisis. We're still in the pandemic. So the safety and health of our people, meaning our employees, our guests, our business partners, that is our first priority now, as it should be. So in Radisson Hotel Group, to go into a safe recovery and a safe reopening of our businesses, we have launched the Radisson Hotel Safety Protocol about a month ago in partnership with SGS, which is one of the largest global companies in terms of health and safety inspections and validation. So the health and safety is our first priority. But on the other hand, sustainability is also about the health of our planet and the health of our communities and the health of our people. Because if we operate sustainably, it's also about how we interact. It has an impact on the health of people. Look, for example, on how it's not good, of course, that there is an economic standstill in many societies, in almost all countries around the world. Right. But we have seen that the air quality has improved. We have seen that nature can breathe again and come back to a certain extent in cities. The global carbon emissions, there was an estimation that our global carbon emissions will be 4% lower in absolute terms as they were last year. So that's all positive news, and that is sustainability. In terms of how we as a company focus on sustainability and run on sustainability, what we had to do is, of course, rethink. We all have to rethink. This is a time of crisis. We have to innovate, refocus, and rethink. And that's what we also have done with our sustainability priorities and program.
The health and safety aspect. There are some things that need to be done immediately. There are items coming back like seals around toilets, something that I remember from my youth that we had that And I keep talking about it because one of the things that flashes back in my mind, I haven't seen it for the last 20 odd years, but now suddenly this probably will come back. What other hands-on, what other details are you implementing right now where you say this is a major shift from how we normally operate? And the next question would be, then you can maybe lead into that, sorry, is what will last? Because some of these I suspect will be, in the short term, but what will change in the longer term in terms of the health and safety aspects?
Yeah. So as part of the Radisson Hotel Safety Protocol, it's actually consisting of 20 points in the guest experience that are essential to ensure a safe return to visits. And then the 10 points are actually specific for meeting and events, and some are overlapping. And it's those 20 plus 10 points which are validated by SGS. So the key points, I think, which the guests will see. Of course, what we need to know is hotels started from a very good basis of hygiene, cleanliness, and a lot of attention to that. But the very first point, which we all need to do and which is essential, is the increased cleaning and disinfection in the right way and on the high touch points and on hard and soft surfaces. Transparency about that increased cleaning and disinfection is also something that we incorporated in the Radisson Hotel Safety Protocol, but is also something that you will see in general. We need to be transparent to the guests. We don't need to clean and disinfect when the guests are not there, in the lobby, for example, in the public areas. We need to do it when they see it, and we need to leave a record. Hence your what you said before about the seal on the toilets. What we are doing is we're introducing a hanger on the door to show the guest who checks in when the room was cleaned and disinfected. We are having also certain items in the room where you can see that they have been disinfected. For example, the TV remote, which is one of the areas that that can contain most of the germs. So that's to prove that it has been disinfected. It's going to be disinfected and then placed in a sealed bag. So these are the things which are necessary: increased cleaning and disinfection, and showing the guest and being transparent to the guest about how and when and where we do this. The other thing, of course, is what we've been calling here in the Netherlands and in Belgium the 1.5 meter economy. So, this is the other big change. When we operate, whether it's in hotels or anywhere else where we go, the distance, the physical distance, the social distance, or the physical distance need to be maintained. The distances are different per country, but generally speaking, it's 1.5 meters or 2 meters. So that's what we apply. We apply minimal 1.1 meter or more if it's required locally in our hotels across the world. And that is everywhere. It is when you queue for reception, or we avoid queuing for reception by introducing technology. But when you queue for reception, the elevator, it's all about that physical distance. That is key. And of course, that brings along certain things like the opportunity to have contactless room service, for example, so you don't have any interaction with the person bringing you the room service. It goes into making reservations when our food and beverage outlets, our restaurants are open, that you have to make a reservation to avoid that people queue and to make sure that we can respect the maximum capacity. It has implications in meeting and events where all the meeting rooms maximum capacity charts and flow charts in the meeting rooms have to be clear and redone. So the 1.5 meter economy is there. And then thirdly, I think another thing that is there and that may stay is the whole personal protective equipment, the masks. I mean, masks have become fashionable. You can get them from the big brands already. I'm not a brand person in terms of clothing, but you can get them. This is something that will stay as a matter of courtesy to people around you. And then the fourth thing I think that will stay is innovation, the digitalization and the innovation. We have seen innovation in so many ways. We have seen it, and we're still seeing it in terms of cleaning and disinfection. We're seeing it in terms of digitalization of the guest experience process, the interaction. having menus on WhatsApp or on your phone, on the hotel app. All these things are there. They have accelerated, and I think they will stay.
Yeah, that would be my question. I mean, they would stay, but I mean, a lot of that technology has been around for a while, and we as hoteliers, we looked at it as an additional service or quicker service, more efficiency, and in particular when it comes to check-in, check-out, and whatever. You always thought, you know, it'll be much nicer to have a chance, even on a 1 meter distance or 1.5 meter distance, to chat to the receptionist than having her or him, you know, fill in my details, which I can all do on my phone. Do you already see an increased pickup on that? Because it hasn't been, in some markets, it hasn't really been as fast as we were all hoping for.
Yeah.
But now this contactless, or the desire to work contactless, has that accelerated the use?
Well, I think it's hard to tell with the
Really
occupancy levels that we have today. I think the future will show us. But what is clear is that the rollout is accelerated.
Yeah.
Now in various ways, whether it's for food and beverage interaction or for check-in, check-out, cashless payments. So, you know, the rollout is accelerated. I think it's too early to talk about the ease of pickup and adoption by the guests. I think that's going to be something we learn in the second 6 months, second half of the year, as occupancy picks up. Let's keep an eye out for that. But the availability and the rollout has been accelerated for sure.
My goodness, we're already into our normal 10-minute break, but you know, it's so interesting to talk to you. I still want to hear from you in closing, maybe. You know, what will we take out of this? Will we take something positive out of it? Will we look back in a year, 2 years, 5 years time and saying, oh, remember Corona, remember COVID-19? That is what we took with us, and that was worth keeping.
Yeah. Oh, I think we can talk for a long time about, you know, the positive and the negative impacts and the lessons learned from a global pandemic and crisis like this one. I think there's a couple of things we can take away. First of all, if the world comes together and can deal with this horrific crisis of COVID-19, I think we can apply the same to dealing with the climate change and the climate crisis. We can't self-isolate from climate change. We know that. We have to tackle it. It's a big crisis that is around the corner. So let's do what we did in COVID times and take the positive collaborations that we had in the industry with governments and beyond to also tackle climate change. That's one. And the other thing I think is that hospitality has a huge opportunity to play a responsible role, or to play a role in the responsible business recovery. And I'm talking there about the social and the environmental dimension. In terms of social dimension, we have to think about all the people who are affected by this and have lost their jobs. The Secretary General of the ILO has estimated, and that was 2 months ago, so I think the estimates may have changed, that globally there will be an estimated 195 million people who lose their full-time job. And that's not even talking about the day jobs or the subsistence jobs or part-time jobs. So those numbers are massive. And in tourism and travel and in hotels, we can go back to offering or continue to offer jobs. We have employment opportunities. Of course, there will be less in hospitality, but hospitality is a great place to offer employment opportunities, decent jobs, and also employability training. And I do think that we have a responsibility there to continue to work on training people for employability, people who are in precarious circumstances.
Right.
And then, of course, the environmental work. Let's continue our environmental work as the hospitality industry continues to grow. I think we need to continue to focus on, for example, green and sustainable buildings, because the operating costs of such buildings are lower. Yeah. So there are opportunities, there are lessons learned from this crisis, and I would say let's apply them going forward.
Absolutely. Inge, thank you so much. Let's apply them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your continued passion, because I believe, having met you personally, you know, you don't just do it for the hotel, Radisson Hotel Group. You do it for all of us. You do it with a passion that is infectious. I thank you for that and wish you a wonderful day. Thank you, Inge.
Thank you, Nils. Have a nice day. Bye.